Hey guys, good afternoon. It is Victoria Day weekend up here, so it's a busy weekend for us, and our little 15-month-old is sick. So I'm going to shoot through this really quickly. Again, Modern Trader Summit, you guys need to book your seat. Amazing speakers coming, and definitely go to the hotel details, click right here, or use the HWIT code to book your rooms. The block rates are going to be freed up on Tuesday, and there's 6 rooms left, so definitely make sure you book your room. Now, I had someone ask me, what is everything on my daily watch list? So I'm going to go ahead and sort of walk you guys through it. So the long, it means I'm looking to buy long for the stock to go up to profit, and what I'm looking for is the resistance to be broken. Support and resistance I will explain in the chart coming up. The float, meaning the amount of shares that are publicly traded that somebody can buy and sell. So say, for example, TTD has 26.65 million float. It could have 50 million in the float and insiders, like 50 million overall of shares that the company has released, but the insiders own that 23.35 million, so that they own majority themselves, but that's what's traded hands. So the lower the float, the more movement potential with supply and demand. If the stock is running up, you can see that it will move up very quickly. If it's running down, vice versa, it can move down very quickly. Now, what the short float volume is from shortsqueeze.com. You can go and see with their premium service how much has been sold short the day before. So, for example, for this one, 35%. Well, let's say the shares that were sold, that traded hands on Friday were 1 million, for example. So 350,000 of them would have been short sold. However, that doesn't mean that they're all still holding short for the weekend or overnight. If we do the same example of SUPN here, the 55.48% were short float. Actually, let's do it easier with BKE, round number. So we've got, say we have 1 million shares that traded hands, again, 57% short float volume. So that means 570,000 potentially are short. However, if everything except for 50% had covered, so say 50% of those, up to 50% had covered, that would leave 70,000 that are still potentially short overnight. So I would watch, for example, BKE up to the volume of 70,000 the next day to see what the price movement does. If it starts to break out, then there's more of a potential for squeeze. So it's a higher probability that there will be a squeeze. The shorts, meaning I'm looking for a stock to drop throughout the day if the support is broken, to capitalize selling it high and buying it low. Resistance I'll go over again on the chart, and then my long swing potential, meaning I'm looking to buy these for a longer term holding, whether it's 2 days, a week, months, years, where this is down at a bottom on the chart and I'm looking for it to curl up, but I would use my stops potentially. So let's go ahead and get into the first one for today, and I'll talk about support and resistance. So we have Crsp. I go to my 15-minute chart, and I would say here at the bottom of this candle, 63.75 for support, and the first resistance I would say of 65.27. Support, meaning that I think that it will go down to this price level and it's going to test it. That's going to be an area where buyers are going to start to step in. So if you want to go long, you could potentially enter there with a very tight stop for going long, and vice versa. That shorts are going to use this resistance level right here as an area that they think it's going to not break. So that would be a shorts stop area, and if it breaks, then it would potentially continue up, break out, and squeeze. If you were to look here, let's just draw a line here on the chart for another example to help explain it. So we've got here would be a resistance line, and down here would be support. So you can see it goes up, it tests it, it pulls back down, and then it goes and it breaks it. Oh, it breaks it, but it comes back. That's the resistance. It comes down, test the resistance again, find support here, test the resistance, finds support, and then once it breaks this resistance level, look at the run. It goes from 58 up to 63. So you could even move this support down further if you want, down to the 62 level. It goes up to 66, comes down, tests 62, goes back up, tests 66. Now it looks like, to me, like the support level might have moved up to up here to 63.75 or 63 area. So it could come down here, test again, and then rock it up again. The reason why I like Crsp, you can look at it, it has been upward trending throughout the year. I did enter back in January a little bit for a long swing, and then I exited up here. Once it hit 60, I took my profits off, and I was waiting for it to break out again. So this one also has a nice W pattern to it. It is really interesting because it is lower float with 18.7 million in the float, and it was 56.12% short float volume. So I hope that helps you guys as far as the breakdown of my watch list, as far as that image, so you understand it more. Next one on the list, CDNA. So we'll go to the 15-minute chart. So I would say a support level of 11.54 and resistance of 11.73. You can see over here, we're getting close to a 52-week breakout of 1183. So we'll back it out. You can see that happened just on the 11th of, on the 11th of May. And I always like to look back and see, did it ever break that before? Nope, it looks like it broke out here on this candlestick of the high of 1089. So when it broke out on the 11th, it was taking a new trend and really breaking out. So this one put on watch as well. We also have TTD, again, that I'd mentioned from the watch list from last week. This one has just been uptrending basically ever since it had earnings. Now it is showing a bit oversold on the RSI down here at 92.6. So it could pull back for sure. It does have some correction that could potentially happen. However, in the meantime, this one is looking like a support level of 85.52 and 86.4 for resistance. You can see you could pull down this support even further for a lower price entry if you wanted, of 84 right here at the bottom of this candle, 84.50, and then a resistance level of 86.40. After that, it could totally pull off, skyrocket up. So if you look at it on the 15-minute chart, it's not showing oversold. However, on the daily chart, it does look like it does have some correction that could potentially set up for it. This one does have 26.6 million in the float, and short float volume was 28.58 on Friday. I forgot to tell you, CDNA's float is 21.6 million and 21% short float volume on Friday. Next on the long list, we'll look at it on the MEIP, on the 15-minute is MEIP, again, setting up for breaking out. It hit a new 52-week high on Friday, so I would use that as the resistance level, 355, and support of 341. It looks like that was the prior resistance that would flip to be support, and we'll see what the market decides on Monday. This one does have 32.3 million and 40.96% short float volume on Friday. And we'll back it out so you can see it on a yearly chart. As you know, it is hitting new 52-week highs. We'll check it for 5 years. It did have this level. It's filled a gap here. So it did have a level. The low was 357. So look for a break of 357. This is all the way back in 2015, so 3 years ago. It could potentially run up, I'd say, again to potentially this level here, 552, before it would find another level of resistance of $2 move potentially. And they have 32.3 million in the float and 40.96 short float volume. Then we have SSI. So SSI, we go to our 15-minute chart. This one is 19.9 million in the float and 24.17% short float volume on Friday. Again, look at that 52-week high setting up. It broke it on Friday, and it set a new one at 316. Oh no, excuse me, it's 2 cents off of the high, but it's very close to breaking out here. And then the support of 307 is what I'd be looking at. So our 1 year, how long ago? It set that new high on April 16th, and then we go back to the 5-year chart. It looks like it does have a little gap fill here from 354 up to 406. So if we do break, actually it looks like another resistance level at 337, 359, and then up to 406. So keep that one on watch for one that could have potential moves to it if it does break out on those levels. For our short on Friday, the shorts list, we've got Campbell Soup. So the CEO was retiring, and they didn't claim why she retired, so it was just an emergency retirement. So therefore, and it also had earnings. So earnings and retirement, people got skeptical. They sold the stock off on Friday. It does look like a support level of 34.27 here and a high of 34.69. Did join the 52-week low club. Overall, this has been a new low that we haven't seen for the stock since 2013. So it could potentially go down to 31.48. However, in the longer term, this one, it did break our 200-day moving average on the monthly chart here of 37.18. So keep this one on watch. It could continue down further. Again, this is an all-time chart for the stock. It's not a yearly, so it's a monthly chart. So look at it that way. If we go back to a yearly chart, we already know that it's a brand new low. 5-year, it's a new low for 5 years as well. All right, after this one does have 182 million in the float. Next on our short list, we have Bidu, and this one it had a drastic move, hit highs on the 16th. It hit a new high for the year, and then it pulled back, and it's got a support of 252.05 and a resistance of 253.98. We look at it on our yearly chart. You can see it ran up, pulled back. Also, just like before, it broke that support of a prior high of 275, and it ran about $10. Then it had a pullback, drastic move down, and now it looks like it's in a prior potentially support level, but I think it would probably drop down further to 245, or even right here on these candlesticks, 250 before it would bounce up. So keep it on watch. It could have a nice bounce to it. However, it's having a nice pullback at the moment. 274 million on the float. Next, we have Nordstrom's that had earnings and dividends on Friday. So you can see it had testing new highs. Looks almost like a head and shoulders here, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder. Tested it right before earnings came out to see what was going to happen, and then boom, the market reacted negatively. So we've got a resistance level of 45.91 and a support level of 45.35. That one does have 114 million in the float. Next we have SATS. This is our 15-minute chart. I would say a resistance level of 50.70 and a support of 50.46. On the year chart, it's hitting a new 52-week low, so we step it back to 5 years. You can see this area looks like it was a resistance before, then it turned to be somewhat of a support level, broke down, then it broke out again, and now it looks like an M pattern here, right? So it looks like a double top where it's going to come on down, and here's our 200-day moving average on the weekly. On the year, obviously, it's already broken that. So watch for breakdown further to 49.77. If it does break that, I think it would continue on down further to 47.63. This does have 47.2 million in the float. And the last one on our short list is MYE, Myers Industry. So look for a support level of 1830 and a resistance of 1865. On the year chart, you can see it does have $3 to the downside to the low of the year, which was the 200-day moving average. You can see it did break the 200-day moving average on Thursday, which many times will be a death cross, they call it, where people will go ahead and start selling it off. And sure enough, it has had a massive move down from there. So that was at 2070. Now we're down $2 or 20% on the stock. And it could have further drop down, I would say potentially down here to 1750 before it finds a support level, and then down to 17. If it does break the 17 level, I think we're looking down at 1650. Probably not all the way down to 1540, but the market would decide, and it does have 28 million in the float. So watch out. If this one does start to have momentum to the upside, it could really squeeze some charts and really move them up. So keep that on watch. For the longer term swings for the week, I have TAP, Brewing Company. Oh, sorry guys, my battery's running low. And this one, I would say it did have massive sell-off with earnings. So it could go ahead and have a bounce to the upside and move up from here. You can see on the yearly chart, this is the yearly chart, it's down at the 52-week lows. So put this one on watch. If you do start to see it curl, it could go back up. It would test the 67 level, which was a prior support, and now it would be a resistance in my opinion. So put that one on watch. It does have some potential to it to go to the upside. We also have CWH. I'm just waiting on the chart, which is Camping World, and oh, it's very interesting. It doesn't like it. There we go. Okay, so we'll put it back to our 1-year chart, and you can see it did hit the 52-week low. Oh, their server is very slow right now. So 52-week low of 21.15. It does look like it's potentially curling up here. It tested the moving averages, the simple moving average, and it pulled back a little bit. So keep it on watch. It could have a nice potential entry down here for a longer term swing with upside of the year as the potential movement. We also have LMT, and LMT, Lockheed Martin, is at a point where it's about to cross a 200-day moving average of 323.39. Sometimes people call that the golden cross, and it could have an upward movement here. So keep that one on watch as well for a longer term. It does look like it's a prior resistance level. If it does break out from here, it could have more move to the upside. As always, guys, Carpe Profit sees those profits one trade at a time with proper risk management. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Modern Trader Summit in June. Make sure to book your seat as well as your hotel room. Have a great one, guys. Carpe Profit.